Hi friends, it's been a rough day here at Stevens Trucking, my first day out on the road, but let me tell you about it. I know I'm looking rough because it has been one day from you know where, okay? So, welcome to the Dream Girl Trucking channel. And Dream Girl is not just because I'm a girl, well it is, but dreams stand for anybody who has a dream, is living their dream, or is working on a dream. And if you're not building your own dream, you're building somebody else's. And I'll tell you what, when you're building somebody else's, you are down in the trenches. I'm wearing my glasses today because I've made a list of things to talk to you guys about. And if you see my makeup, it's kind of runny because I have to keep getting out, and I did these drop-in hooks and a live load, and I did 2 drop-in hooks and a live load, and I just parked, and so I've got to do pre-trip. I've got to do pre-trip and post-trip on each one of the trailers, and then I've got to do a post-trip, and I had to climb up in the trailer and secure the load, and the doors didn't want to close, and you know, it was just very tough. And it's not that they have bad equipment, it's not. Well, they do kind of have bad equipment, but I'll get to that part too, okay? So let me go through my list. Well, actually, because I know I didn't write down on the list, but here's what I mean by bad equipment. It's nice and everything, but they've got APUs and EPUs, and somehow they're hooked up to the radiator, so the water in them gets too hot and they shut off. And mine shut off last night before I had ever left the yard. I spent the night on the yard to get started this morning. And it's 92 degrees in here because I've got a thermometer back there, the kind that you get, the little white round ones about that big around from Walmart for outdoors. It is 92 degrees in here, and that sucker shut off completely. I didn't know what to do. Come to find out, you have to idle your truck, and then so you don't get penalized financially, because here you get penalized for everything. The breakdown, they make a note of it, and then you have to write it on your sheet that you write everything, all your loads down every time you stop. Well, not every time you stop, like if you stop at, you know, for fuel, or you have to write your fuel down, but every time you get to the shipper, the receiver, to where you're going to drop a trailer. And so anyway, but I talked to another person who started at the same time I did, and it was also that person's first night, and his shut off every 2 hours, and you have to get up and idle your truck just for 5 minutes. But you know, who wants to do that? Who wants to do that at all? Mine stayed on all night long. So, but he also had the I think he has the green, the EPU, the electronic one. And so anyway, they said there was nothing that they could do about it. That was just the way it is. And he's like, well, I can override it so it doesn't do that, because he, you know, and they said no, it'll void the warranty. So let's see here. Let's see, number of location of drop lots. Oh, I wanted to tell you guys that. Let's see here. It was, there's a whole bunch of them. Oh, here it is. 19. El Reno, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma, Wilmer, Texas, Saginaw, Texas, Houston, Texas, Converse, Texas, Topeka, Kansas, Commerce City, Colorado, East St. Louis, Illinois, Elwood, Illinois, Indianapolis, Indiana, Albion, Indiana, Grove City, Ohio, Woodhaven, Michigan, Flint, Michigan, Atlanta, Georgia, Park City, Kansas, and Mint Hill, North Carolina. And if you were to work here, you would be using one of those on your home time, or you would have to just leave your car at a truck stop, however you want to do that, because you're sure not taking it home. And you're not going to drop your trailer and bobtail home either. Those are not allowed here. Even if you always park your trailer, your truck and trailer at your house because it's safe there, no. So yeah, somebody else told me that the recruiters told him that yeah, you could take your truck home, but then when he mentioned it after orientation, they said, oh no, you must have misunderstood. I tell you, I hate to say this, and I hope they don't see it, and maybe I hope they do see it, but there's a bunch of liars at this company. A bunch of liars. So they already, I signed a piece of paper early in the day in orientation saying that there was $100 pet deposit for my cat. And I signed it. It was filled in $100. How much do you want taken out each week? And it said $100. So I crossed that out and put $25 because, you know, Why spend, why have them take more out than what they need to? And so then later on in the day, I got another piece of paper, and they said, oh, we made a mistake on that. It's $250. And we'll take out $50 a week, because the most you can do is 5 weeks. And for a big dog, it's $500. So I don't know if I went over that or not, but I was like, at first I thought mine was $500. I was going to get up and walk out of orientation. That's just nonsense. If I had a big dog now, that's different. Maybe so. Or 2 dogs. But where's my book that was telling me what to talk about? Let's move on. Health insurance and other insurance, it's really, really pricey. And let's see here. They had told me that we could get short-term disability and long-term disability. Turns out they just have somebody they work with who sells Aflac, which if you've ever tried to get those on your own, they are super, super expensive. Let's see here. We always fuel at Love's. Let's see here. And yeah, so that's what happened, because so they told me that, what was it that they were saying? Something about the people, the recruiters who lied to that other guy. And then they lied to me. They said I could go, my first load would be going home to get my pet, but no, it's not. I'm not getting there till tomorrow. I left on Sunday. Tomorrow is Friday. So, and I should be able to get there as long as I get there before dark. I can get a ride home from Saginaw. It's an hour, but that's what, 6 days? That's a long time to leave a cat. And, my brother can give him some food and water, but he can't take care of him all the way. He can't do anything else for him. So, but it's just the principle of the thing. And instead of them saying, okay, well, that's what you were told, that's what we'll do, what I was told was, well, they like to run you real hard when they have to pay for your rental car. I said, I don't want the $50. I want the cat. Not that I even like the cat, but the fact of the matter is that he's my responsibility. And I need to be taking care of him, not my brother, who's allergic to cats. So anyway, and then they told that other guy he could park at his house, and he couldn't. And then they told this other guy that he was going to be making more money. They said, oh yeah, we only pay blah, 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 but we're going to pay you more because you got so much experience. Then we all had to sign a paper in orientation saying how much they pay. And he found out that everybody starts out at the same rate. Yep. So then I had told my dispatcher that I take care of handicapped people at home. And yesterday somebody had called that I had to take the call. And I think that I had told somebody something. Oh, yeah, they were wanting to go to my cousin's house. The home health people were trying to get them to come for a good 6 months. And finally they're going to come out. And they want to meet her home health care person who's going to be working for her, which we had to find ourselves. And they want everybody to meet up at her house. And the reason that I help her with her stuff is because she gets bamboozled. So I'm trying to coordinate that. But it didn't take but, a second. And, mostly I was taking notes and listening when the dispatcher was in there talking to us. And, I don't, it couldn't have been longer than 30 seconds that I was texting. And then somebody called, or I had to call somebody about it. And I made the motion to him, and I thought he was going to be understanding, like, okay, she's, taking care of that. And I stepped out, and I was not out of the room for a minute. And it wasn't until he was in the question and answer part, and somebody was asking him a question, that I went out. Well, I had a bunch of questions this morning, and you know what he typed to me? He typed, I talked about all this yesterday, but you were on your phone, and then you stepped out to talk on it. I mean, he made it sound like I didn't pay any attention. So anybody who reads that, when it comes back on me, I feel like they're already lying to me and about me just to frame me so they can fire me, so they can pull me in there and say, you're not good enough. Because we've all got so many questions. I mean, there's at least 3 different apps that we have to do stuff on, and you have to upload documents onto this one and upload documents onto that one. And they really, with so much to do here, we really need a mentor. And this thing beeping off all the time, they don't give us a mentor. And I'm telling you, nobody calls me and says, oh, well, you're supposed to have uploaded this, or you're supposed to have done that. No. I know already how I'm going to find out. I'm going to get docked for it. They dock your pay for everything here. They sent around a a company-wide message on the computer yesterday, and it was saying words to the effect of, when you don't fill in all the fields that you're supposed to fill in, and I have to get up and go find out what went in that field from another department, you could get charged a fee. I've never been in an orientation where the whole thing was, here's how you do it, and when you don't, here's how much it's going to cost you. And the first time, and the second time, it's going to cost you this, and the third time, it's going to cost you that. You know, so it goes to like, you know, you're going to pay $100, you're going to pay $250, you're going to pay $500, and you're going to get suspended for 3 days. What, you know, how about a mentor so that we can do, because everybody goes in there wanting to do their job right. So then I get over to where I'm going to do a live load, and, well, first of all, I had to take that trailer that I picked up this morning and take it. It was to an Amazon. I've never been to an Amazon before. They wanted some number, and I didn't know what it was. And so then they said I had to get out, go into Amazon, turn around, leave, call, and they said, well, it's your bill of lading number. Well, I didn't really see that it was. But they let me in, and then they said, well, what empty trailer are you picking up? I don't know. Here's something else that's gone wrong. Okay, so then they said, Amazon said, well, we'll just give you one. I said, okay, so they assigned me one. I got through that. And then I get over to take that to where there's a live load, and I'm going to barely get there in time because I've had so much BS going on this morning with, you know, numbers that are wrong, and you know, they're already mad at me and, you know, telling me, well, I told y'all this in orientation and you weren't even listening. You know, that I get over there and they're working on the street and the road's closed. So I have to call and tell them I'm going to be late. And then I have to call the shipper and say, your road's closed. How do I get there? And then they tell me, and I go down there, and there's you could go straight or turn. And they said, well, turn. And I wasn't on the phone with them, but that was it. But there was a road closed sign, and it was sitting catty-cornered in between both of those roads, and there was a cop there. So I had to stop and ask the cop, which one of these roads is closed? You'd think that they could make it more clear than that. Well, so anyway, then I get in there, and they gave me there was no number for pickup number. And the guy in there working said, oh, well, if it's for this customer, they usually give the wrong number anyway. So I called the dispatcher. I need the number to pick up. Oh, well, it's on there. You just have to go on your tablet and scroll down all the way to the bottom. And I'm over there scrolling. I got my tablet in my hand. And I'm like, it's not on here. Yes, it is. I said, no. And I started reading him off the stuff. And he's like, whatever. It's on there. I'll send it to you again. Really, this is not a pleasant company to work for. And I get the feeling that if I call the owner's son, he's got 3 sons. They all work in the company. And I get the feeling that if I call him, he's going to say, well, if you feel like you're being picked on and you're not happy, you should just come back, turn your truck in. Because I'm obviously very replaceable. But these dispatchers and people who work in payroll or whatever, they're not. And I understand that. But from what I've seen so far at this company, they're a bunch of liars. They don't have your back. And they want to charge you back and put charge back on you for everything. Like, it's like a baby in a bottle. Well, you know, we're going to pay you this, but if you don't do this, we'll take it away. We'll take some more away. We'll take some more away. Okay, I'm going back to my dang list because this company is really on my last nerve. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, the med cards. This is one of those companies where they don't care if you have one or not. But here's the thing. You go to their clinic to get your med card. And 2 of the people had 2-year med cards. And they walked out with 1-year med cards. One of them because he had a heart murmur that he's had since he was 9 years old. And they made him go next door and get an EKG. And it came back perfectly normal. But they still made him get a 1-year med card. Well, that's his life. Okay, he's on the 1 year forever. The other guy, this little skinny guy, he's like 6'3" and skinny. And they told him that he had high blood pressure. And they didn't make him go get any extra tests, but they gave him a 1-year med card. Well, I guess maybe he can, if he gets a doctor to say he didn't have it, which a doctor's one that put it on there. So, I don't know. But the kicker is, and they don't charge us. They don't take it out of our check like Crete does. Crete, they don't care. You got a med card that's 1 day old, you're getting Cretes. Well, they're not like that. They don't charge us for it. And, But the kicker is that as long as you work at this company, you can only get your med card from their clinic, from the clinic they made us go to. As long as you work, and they don't charge you for it, but still, you know, that kind of sucks, because those people they gave us a hearing test, and of course they gave us the eye test, but they did something weird, and if y'all can figure why they did this, please put it in the comments. But they put a little spongy under our tongue, and they took our saliva, not just a swab. It had to stay in our mouth for, you know, like 5 minutes, and then they took it out. Now, I don't know why they would want that. It seems, I don't know, like, what are they going to put us in the DNA FBI database? I don't know. So, I don't know. That's it. That's all I've got. And I'm up here at Big Cabin. I'm going to go in and get something to eat, park for the night, and see how tomorrow goes. Because, I mean, between the sweating, and I was in tears this morning. I was so frustrated. And you know what he said to me, the dispatcher? Do you need to come back in for some more training? No, I need to be out here practicing what you have told me so I can get it down. I don't need to go back in there for another 3 hours of getting threatened. You'd think they could give us a mentor, since it's just, you know, there's so much to learn. They use so much paper in so many forms, and they've got one that's the Stevens sheet, and you don't fill out what's on the piece of paper. You have to know what's on there, which they gave you that paper in orientation, but it has to go with every load. And then you have to fill out an inspection form for every pre-trip on the trailer when you're dropping and hooking, and every post-trip on the trailer. And they told us in orientation you have to take a picture of the seal with the bill of lading at the shipper and at the receiver. But nobody knows where we're supposed to upload that at. You guys, I cannot recommend this company. I just cannot. Now, maybe I'm going to like it, and maybe I'm going to make some money, and maybe I'm not going to get fired. Maybe it'll work out for me. It has worked out for some other people, but just a lot of red flags, a whole lot of red flags. So I'll talk to you guys next time, and I'll let y'all know how it's going. Stay tuned, because it's quite the soap opera. Bye.